Hey guys, Totogon Plays here. So we took SABERS to locals. I know, it's crazy, right? It's insane. But let me explain. So SABERS is a very fun deck for me to play. I love the deck. I think it's super fun to play. And I get a lot of enjoyment playing it. And I played it so much that I've actually found a decent amount of success with the deck. So I want to showcase some gameplay footage to really show how I play the deck, as well as showcase some misplays that I make, because I feel like there is a lot to learn there. I also want to go through and show a deck profile, the list that I've been using currently, the things that I've been running, to find the successes that I have been finding with the deck. And I have been playing SABERS so much to this point that I actually, I found a couple wins. Like, I win a couple times at locals. I even won this bad boy for playing SABERS. Like, just one night I was like, I want to go play. And then I thought, fuck around, just play SABERS. And like, nobody knew what the deck did. So like, kind of crazy. It definitely feels like when it's good, it's really good. Like, it definitely feels like it has a lot of potential. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the games, check them out, see how we did on Tuesday.
Alright, we'll draw for turn. Stand by me. Go for the cat. So I want to pass.
Draw. Standby?
Yes.
Main?
Yes, sir. Yep.
You get food already?
We'll take it.
You got life?
Yeah. Let me just walk this thing. No, I'm gonna have to turn it off. Okay. I'll let that restart again.
Set.
Yeah.
Set. Go ahead.
Draw for turn. Stand by me.
Yeah.
You were the only one that can't tell.
I'll try to have it. Yeah. It's 44 to 66.
That's a shame. These two are on board.
We'll pass.
Draw. Standby?
Yes.
Battle phase?
Yeah.
Check.
I'll let it die.
Battle phase 2.
Yeah.
Set. Pass.
Draw. Stand by. Alright, so we'll go up by 2, 16. 66 to 4. Normal summon rescue cat.
Yeah.
Time's activated. Paint it.
Yeah.
Cool. Chain MST targeting the oppression. Resolve rescue cat. Thank you. Do we want both of them to die? That's worth it. Do kind of want one off for that. I'm sorry.
Alright, so one of them is benched.
Yeah. Oh, normal rescue cat, that's right. Well, pass on that.
Does it still stay on board?
Yeah, because it's face down. So it doesn't, like, understand that this is, like, a monster summoned from the rescue cat.
Okay. Alright. Turn? Rock?
Yeah.
Standby?
Yeah. Yes.
Battle phase?
Yeah.
I think the only reason I put it after.
Yeah.
These two?
Yes.
Set. Set. Go ahead, man.
Stand by me.
Yeah.
Almost someone full health.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just
We'll go battle phase.
Yeah.
I'll declare an attack. Deprison. I'll chain E-call. Target Raggy and Ella.
Yeah.
Declare an attack.
Does that have to do any damage?
No, direct damage. Has to be through a direct
So I'll
attack.
take 3?
Yeah.
Oh,
200.
200.
200. 3K to 66. Main 2 will set 1. I'll pass.
Standby?
Yeah.
Main?
Yes.
Look?
Yes. Okay.
Go ahead.
Interesting.
and then appreciate
We'll go battle. I'll take this one.
the 1 through.
Yeah.
That's not legal, sir. That's not legal.
I'll pass. Yes. You're good.
Hey guys, Totogon Plays here. We're doing a quick interjection. I'm going to be doing a couple of these from time to time just to talk about some cool plays, some things to look out for, and misplays. Things that we are essentially just looking out for, just nice ways to help look and focus on something to improve our gameplay or reflect on the play that we made. So in this dust shoot, right, we see here that our opponent has a specific set of 3 cards here. He has a Deep Prison, he has a Trap Dust Shoot, and a Gores. Now, a really interesting play here that we have, it's kind of interesting because this is actually less about what the Trap Dust Shoot target is and more about the situation that Preemie has placed himself in. So we are at a point with our hand where we have 3 cards in hand, right? And one of them is actually a Book of Boon. We, on our turn, have the ability to actually call player turn priority to activate the Book of Moon, and we can just target one of our own cards, target one of his, it doesn't really matter here. We can actually get our Hound Signs down to 3, and we effectively are going to shut off the Trap Dust Shoot. Now, what's super fascinating about this is that because Preemie, which I think like anyone at this point, you know, regardless of who you are as a player, your very instinct is going to be setting both traps to now help fight against the board, right? Like you're gonna obviously you're gonna want to set your Trap Dust Shoot and you're gonna want to set your Dimensional Prison. But a huge way that you can catch someone here is if you do something like call player turn priority, or you find a way to shut off that Trap Dust Shoot, you have effectively shut off 2 cards in his hand, right? You're shutting off Gores and Trap Dust Shoot now, because for the rest of the game, you're gonna see that like I never make that Trap Dust Shoot live. I effectively shut off both cards and I reduce his hand to like, he has 5 here, but it's actually 3, and then we're gonna send back the Armageddon Knight. So it's like he's just gonna have 2 dead cards in play for the rest of the game here, which is huge. Getting to know that kind of thing is huge. So we'll continue on and see how this plays out.
I think there's only Brianna.
So we're gonna draw return. Thinking on draw phase here. Activate both targets. Gotta dodge it. Gotta dodge it. And then we'll go main phase.
Can I beat this real quick?
Yeah.
Only when it's normal.
Right. Normal but special. Has to go for that. That's that. Almost summon fall.
Yeah, it's fine.
We'll go back.
Yeah.
Do 16.
Where is my $1,500
Yeah. We'll go 13. Yeah. I'll pass. Yeah.
Normal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about here. Like it's out of here.
Yes.
When someone gets here, I'm gonna just get way more.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're taking it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Draw for turn. Stand by me. Go level limit. Normal summon armor.
Yeah.
Go battle, declare an attack. We'll pass.
Pass.
Stand by me.
Go over the joke. Go over the joke. So you got an enemy charge for a joke. Go over the joke.
Oh no, it's the main joke. Oh yeah, the joke is the white
I'm about to say, I'm like,
Go.
one life sacrifice.
Go ahead.
I agree. I agree.
So 2 and pass. Yeah. Yeah.
Draw.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like
Oh, how you not too? I'm Jewish, you know, like I'm not, I don't practice, like, taking my blood. I know.
Let's have these three. I'm a pair of
Sometimes
these
bad service is bad service. I've had bad. Yeah, it was all
I
right.
have two flying.
Value?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sheltering my deck, bro. That wasn't me. I don't even know.
Priority?
Yeah.
I never did. Yeah.
This is really the deck.
Neverland.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, if you have them on a shooter and you have them in, I have 3 shooters. 4. No, I'm just saying 5. You have the 7, 8, 9, 10.
Search your deck.
Yeah.
Deck.
Yes.
Swing with this.
Go ahead.
4 flying. This pairs. If it pairs, that's fine.
So really quick here, something to note here is the target for brain control, right? We have a couple options here. He's at 2,200 life points, so we can obviously take Colossal Fighter here, and we can attack into the Raikou, right? And that's game. The problem is he has one unknown card, and he has his 2 dead cards, right? We know he has the Dead Trap Dust Shoot. We know he has the Dead Gores in hand. And he also has a Necrogarden Engrave, right? So at this point, we can't really take the Colossal Fighter, attack into Raikou. We're just going to get Necroed, and we lose, right? We're probably just going to lose at that point because we're going to lose from the Dark End hit. So I decided to make a play here because I have Giant Rat in hand to make the play for better tempo and just address the problem. So we end up going for a Dark End play here. We take the Dark End, we activate effect, we send the Colossal Fighter, and we attack into the Raikou. I'm not too happy with the sequencing here. You'll see coming up here the fact that he has a Mirror Force set. It doesn't come up now, but he just ends up taking the hit here, which is unfortunate for us. But I almost feel like it was probably just better to not even take the Dark End Dragon here. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know if I'd categorize this as a misplay, but there is something to be said here about holding, just setting my Giant Rat, passing, because the end result is still going to be the same here, where he is going to get to activate the Dark End, remove one of the recruiters, but he can't remove both of the recruiters. The biggest issue here is that a Giant Rat's going to special summon a recruiter in face-up attack position, which is going to tank like 1,600 damage to 1,800 damage based on the amount of Warriors Engrave. I think I have like 1 or 2 or 3. I believe he has like 2 or 3 Gruffers, or like Armageddon Knights and Gruffers. So I would take a huge chunk of damage in that exchange. So I felt it better to go Dark End. We're just going to get rid of the Colossal Fighter. We're going to set our second recruiter here, and like it's going to be a lot harder for him to deal with those monsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad about that. I had Gordon in my hand.
Draw for turn.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure, dude.
Yeah, we kind of just have to hope you don't have anything. We'll go battle. I'll take him. We'll take 7. Yeah. You had mirror. That's good.
That match?
No. We're off a turn. Stand by me. What's up?
Right here, dog. What's up?
What's up? I know, man. Coach me, dude.
Come on. Game 2. Game 3?
Game 2.
Just started. Don't worry, you're not missing anything.
Go ahead.
You have 10 minutes.
That game 1 was like 30 minutes. Holy shit, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
What did you clap your opponent on so fast? What are you playing?
Hopeless.
Yeah, no hope.
Stop that.
That made me just want to. That same thing I got last time on the
Damn, dude, what happened? Oh no, it's a something.
Yeah. We'll flip it.
So right here we choose to special summon High Inlay using our Emerald Blade and Full Helm Knight, and we just pass, right? Now this is a very interesting play because I think a normal thing that a lot of people would probably do is just want to attack into the face down, right? But against Fire Turbo here, we have a Faultroll coming up, we have a Starlight Road, and a Gotham's Emergency Call set. So I felt that the best play here was to not attack into the face down, because the best case scenario for us is that that's a dud or a hamster, and those two situations are great, but the risk of that being a Raikou is actually really, really bad for us, because not only is the Raikou going to pop the High Inlay, it's going to shut off the Gotham's Emergency Call here, and we're going to lose any chance that we had of getting that Faultroll to stick on the board. And at the same time, the reason why we ended up choosing to flip summon the Emerald Blade and doing the synchro in the first place is because it's what gives us the best odds of actually resolving that Faultroll. If we chose to just pass on the set Emerald Blade, or we just pass on the normal summoning of Full Helm Knight and we just leave the two monsters, we're at a huge risk of not getting to establish the Faultroll on the following turn. It's going to be very difficult for us. But now with this, we have an attack negate, we have a recruiter that can summon, as well as a 23 beater. So we have a much stronger chance of actually getting both cards, getting the Faultroll to stick here. And the Faultroll is what we need to happen, right? We need that Faultroll to stick. So let's check this out, see how this plays out.
Special. We'll use a counter to pop.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. Drop it? Yeah. Unfortunate. I said not to cook me, dude. What the hell? Jesus. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we gotta do it.
Go ahead.
So funny. Yeah, because it's so dumb. Alright, we'll level limit. Get him. What could that be, right? What would you want to say? You'd probably want to say like a Raikou with a hamster with a Raikou, these two, I suppose. The center doesn't really matter there, right? You have to play odds. We'll go attacking. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead.
I actually get a mini by foot.
Remember?
Yeah.
Really have not. But very tight.
What?
I had to play ball.
Got some.
I don't win against
Another one.
Yeah, I don't win against that fucking guy. I can't win against him.
What about him? Attack him. Yep.
This one.
Middle?
Yeah.
Okay. Attack it. Yeah. Little decrease on three in hand? Number four, should probably go sit back on the next four just to press with I'll pass.
Remember?
Yeah.
What?
Go battle. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so unfortunately we lost round one. We're gonna have to just stay undefeated from this point, and let's hope that we can wrap up the rest of the tournament as X1 and see how we finish.
GG's, man.
You could have won the way.
Hey, okay, not bad. So the drives weren't bad. The whole day, just managing the whole event and stuff was, I think, the most exhausting part about it.
For sure.
All right, well, we'll go first. Good luck, Ross.
Go for it.
Draw for turn. We are going to do a set 2 and pass.
Go for turn.
Yeah.
Stand by main.
Yep. Foolish. Yeah. On Res, I'll dash you.
Okay.
I gotta see what you're up to here. You are up to some crazy
Shuffle that back.
shit.
Go ahead.
Holy
Go ahead.
shit, dude. What the hell? I think it's the ocean. We'll do
I'm
ocean.
pretty sure it's the ocean. I'm like, shuffle him back. Go,
Yeah.
Make my day.
We'll do the ocean here.
Learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Normal summon ocean.
It was always coming, baby. Yeah.
15.
I'm thinking here. I don't have anything engraven. Target something on field or in hand, right? Or engraven field? Yeah, we'll take it.
Graverfield, yeah.
We
Set
will
one pass.
allow.
Let me see the hand. Ooh, that gotta go.
That is leaving.
That's gonna be annoying.
Yeah. Won't be fun. Won't be
Well,
fun.
that's gonna be annoying.
Okay.
Exit. All right.
So that and that. Go ahead.
15.
Well, mirror first.
Go for it.
We'll draw. Gold Sark.
Okay.
Thinking about it.
Oh, really?
Gato.
I'm good at reading people, I swear. It's like I know this deck already. I know it's cold sucking for
It's
it.
almost like you've played X-Sabers before. Let's let one pass.
Go for it.
Turn one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
We'll grab it.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Go.
Alright, let's see what the face down is. That is a fun face down. We'll flip it, pop it. We'll normal summon our bell on. Yeah. We'll pass.
They're not banished.
Oh,
I'm
so
like, I'd love to have them banished, but they're not banished, sir.
I'd love to not have them banished. Yeah.
Attack with absolute zero. Gravity bind.
Thinking about it. Yeah, we'll take the 25 here. Alright, 4K.
Pass.
We will draw. We'll set one. I'll pass. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's get rid of you.
Okay.
Enter battlefield.
Yes.
Attack.
Yep, it is cat or giant rat. Do effect.
It's gonna be that easy. Summons an attack if I. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll summon my monster and attack.
Go for it.
Take it. Draw for turn. Stand by me.
Give it.
Normal summon. Effect.
Oh, how many blow up your own shit?
Need to think here really quick. Okay, so we're gonna special. Activate effect. Go on battle phase and attack take 100. Activate effect. Ah, that's what it was. Yeah. Raggy effect.
That back?
Yeah, so we're gonna grab back our Hammer's Blade. We'll attack for 200. Synchro for now. You have how many in hand? 4 in hand.
Get rid of it all?
We're gonna go 1, 2. So I'll just put a little marker here. Special activate effect. Effect. Three, 4. So yeah, we'll rip them off.
Get rid of a good hand.
That is very good indeed. That's not that. Just needs to go
Hey guys, so quick misplay here. I don't know what the hell happened. I had like a huge brain fart. We probably should have gone for the Faultroll here. I think my brain was like thinking get Faultroll, and then my hands just ended up grabbing Arabellum to hand here. So complete flubble on my part, but it's all good. I think at this point it's just we just have to deal with the absolute zero, which is like we put ourselves in the best possible situation to just leave them with nothing before we're gonna lose the board and clear everything out. But yeah, definitely something to just watch how far. Sometimes you just get a bit too fast by default, and it's always important to like slow down, take a breather, make sure that you're planning out accordingly, and make sure that you're grabbing the need to grab over from your grave. It sucks too because I think one of these is Gotham's emergency call, so like it makes it much worse because that could have been a much stronger push in the follow-up, because we'd basically just be able like to replicate the same board at that point with the emergency call. But it's all good. We keep pushing forward.
Yeah, no worries. You're good.
Go for it.
Okay, we'll switch to attack. We'll go battle. Attack for 6. Almost on. Set 1. Go.
Go for it.
Stand by me. We'll go E-call. I'll target Raggy and Airbell. And then effect. Go finally effect to destroy. And bottom one. Go equal. Faultroll. Synchro for 6. Burrito effect. We'll bounce it. Activate Faultroll to resummon. Did I normal? That was that. No, I think this was from this. This is that, yeah.
They use 2 equals.
Yeah. So normal dead. Normal dead 60.
Game either way.
Gotta love the dash shoot. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Draw for turn. Stand by main.
Yep.
Try to normal summon Kaiku.
Sure.
We'll go battle.
Sure.
18. It's dying. It's kind of solemn. What the fuck? Oh, because you're like gonna keep that thing alive? Drain him? Oh, thank you. I'll pass.
Okay, so this is actually a really cool play that we get to. It happens quite a bit. It's usually the case when you draw a recruiter, if you draw Giant Rat, or you draw Emer's Blade, or you actually draw Full Helm Knight with an established grave already. So when your opponents tend to go and special a Treeborn from the grave, X-Sabers have a really great opportunity to capitalize on that based on the board at hand, like the situation at hand. So here what we actually get to do is summon our Emer's Blade, crash into the Stratos, take 400 life. We get to special summon a Full Helm Knight from the deck to then attack into the Treeborn Frog, resummon the Emer's Blade, crash the Emer's Blade again into the Stratos, and like these lines end up becoming way more. They can be as simple as that to like then summoning like a Galahad at this point and then attacking the Stratos and like just clearing the board, and we end on Full Helm Knight Galahad. Or if you have Book of Moon in hand or you have Faultroll in hand, like this essentially is enough to get the deck started to like make an insane play where you can like even go for a Ragagura at that point and then try to do a different type of pop off with like some hand ripping with the Ragagura and Faultroll in hand. So the deck is very, very extensible in the sense that combos like this can be like fantastic, and it gives you a great opportunity to like to really capitalize on your opponent for especially in a Treeborn in defense, as well as like just extending your plays as a whole to like doing some wacky plays like this. So you'll get to see it firsthand here. I think it's really cool. It's like one of the cooler plays that X-Sabers gets to do that I think a lot of decks don't have the ability to do. So check it out. It's cool. It's cool.
I think I'll just get them alive. We'll set one and pass. Yeah, that's fine. The back row?
Yeah.
Well, book.
Go for it.
Stand by me.
Yep.
I'm with the Kaiku.
Yep.
We'll go battle. Attack. 18. Banish the Treeborn and the Stratos. Taking that, yeah. Okay. You have one in hand? Two in hand. Go.
Card in hand, 4.
4. We'll take 5.
And my hand.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Stand by me.
Yep.
Is it a snowman? It's a snowman. Yeah, we're gonna pop the gores. Snowman ain't too bad. That actually was a mistake. Okay. 16. Yeah. Okay. Normal. No, I can't. Think of these way for Goya, and we'll attack for 1,000. I'll pass.
Is that Swagger? Talk East?
Nah, I don't know what they're saying.
One-sided.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Normal.
Chip.
The battle, the current attack. I'll take it.
What?
I'll take it with Gorse. Or with.
Oh, you have Goya.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was something else.
We'll go 18. Or 16.
16, not 18.
You're 25. We'll do e-call for game. And baby. Sounds good. Good luck, luck. Yeah. Set. Set. Draw for turn. Stand by me. Yeah. Almost a Miguel. Holy shit, dude. That is crazy.
I know, yeah.
Fast and the movie was legal.
Legal?
To say, yeah.
That is so cool. What the fuck, dude? That is sick. That's actually really cool. We'll pass. Yes. Draw for turn. Stand by me. Pass. Yep.
Carter, that's it.
That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Do armor split effect. Do armor split effect. Draw for turn. Stand by me. Try to have it. Air Force and bottom me. Not bad, not bad. It's just too risky, right? Almost on. The effect? That goes into that. There's no way that's going through, right? That goes in there, that does I'll go battle, I'll go 14. And we'll go 200. And you mailed brain control? Right? Yeah. 2. the effect, right? And we'll pass.
Stand by me. That's the errata one, right?
Yeah, this is it's not once per turn, and then it's any card on the field.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Effect.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
pass.
Draw for turn. Stand by me. Almost on full home. We'll go battle, attack it. Yeah, and then we'll use effect. Give that. So annoying.
What does it do?
It'll special summon a level 4 X-Saber from grave when it destroys one of your monsters that is in defense.
Even though it got destroyed?
Right. It doesn't matter. Yeah. If you do something to this one, like if you Raikou pop it, it can still summon. It can summon itself back with the Raikou too.
And that's on damage still?
Yeah, we'll post damage stuff.
Oh, okay. What is post damage?
Whatever the substep is where like Goyo, like after damage calc, when it's like, oh, like
Oh, it's like
destruction.
Goyo?
happened. Yeah, it's like Goyo.
Okay.
But like for some reason they decided to say that this gun works like if you get rid of it.
Okay.
Why, I don't know. So if you're gonna do that, that's gonna be that. Let's see if you'll tuner those. 16. It has to be you. We'll do you. We'll attack 13.
Sure.
Make 2, activate level limit, and pass. The correct statement is Full Helm Knight doesn't need to remain face up on the field to resolve its effect. Is what Anthony's saying. Stand by me. We'll go battle. 13. Set one. Stand by me. Consider it. Almost. Yeah. Activate, call. Target. Sure. Go ahead. We'll go battle. 13. Go ahead. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Yep. The full hump? We'll negate. Stand by me. We'll go back. Or 9. Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. Summon's fine. Target. It still goes to defense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's your battle.
Yeah. We'll take 1,000. This is so difficult. What do we need to do? I think we have to play. What did that? Yeah. We'll flip some in giant round.
Sure.
21. No, we have to. I'll take it face down. Go battle. I'll attack in, take 9, activate effect. Special full home. I'll do full home into Caius, activate effect. You counter pressure. It's damage stuff. Go ahead.
Stand by me.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally, like I know the bathroom was in there. I was like, oh man, like all the grand, right? And then so we were probably like you're not doing grand or 2 weeks, right? Huh? 3? You think 3? Yeah. Oh yeah, 3, right? So I was like, so like budget was 15 grand, right? And I was like, all right.
This one negates 110.
Yeah.
And then this one's special is from degree.
From deck.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, I'll deal with this. Well, I need to permit.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
I got the Leafeon, the Lugia, the Leafeon, Aspeon, Blastoise, Iona. I have that gear, dude. Arceus.
Oh my god. On the go. Yeah. Take 1,000.
So we're open as is. I'll have the key on Friday. So don't get open. Probably 2 weeks from now.
Go ahead.
So I'm just gonna do everything myself. No.
Oh, okay.
No, chill. No, chill. No. Okay, what do you do?
Yeah. Do it.
Oh, if you're looking for Pokemon, I have everything on there is master signed.
The effect.
So if you need anything,
Target full home to add to hand.
It grabs the one.
Yeah, from the grab.
That's what I just bought.
Yeah.
I gotta check what the guy wants. The guy that we just came in the Brandon's like, no, good. I was like,
Nope.
he has 605 for the don't I get you like 2-3 bucks. And he gives you so, hopefully, I got
2 and a half.
yes. Yeah, those no, then I was like, I couldn't that's close. Like 13 grand, I mean.
Yeah, that's doable for like 2 rooms and the restaurant.
Yeah, I know. They're talking about it. I know. What do you think? That's like for renovation.
Oh man. I gotta think here. Is there anything after this? There's no way. No, let's give this one up. Got locked out. Draw the turn. Stand by me. Go.
Stand by me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. I'll take it. Draw for turn. Stand by me.
So right now, we just did a T-set pass, right? We set a monster, we set a spell trap in the back row, and we just pass the turn. So here, that set back row is Mirror Force. And we actually do a huge hold of that Mirror Force to a point where I think us holding the Mirror Force to the extreme lengths that we did is actually what gets us back into this game. Because I think at this point, this game feels so lost. Like it feels like I'm really behind. He's establishing a Greffer. The Greffer is going to keep going with pitches and stuff. So I opt for holding the Mirror Force to find a point where I like just need to get massive advantage off of it, as well as just making sure that my game state is going to be like secured from that point with like an actually good follow-up. Because if I Mirror Forced on the following turn here, yeah, like I get rid of these monsters, but like I can't deal. I don't have any proactive plays that I can make on my following turn. There's not really much that I can do to advance my game state. So I hold until there's a point where me breaking his board and then getting to keep my stuff is actually going to make a huge impact. And so like let's check out this game, see how long it takes for me to actually flip that thing, because it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Stand by, man. The battle. Try an E-call. Forget these two. Okay, still on them. Sorry. Go. Yeah. Check. turn. Stand by me. What was the other crap? I used mirror parts already. What was that? Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Insert battle.
Yeah.
Affect the card.
Yeah.
Sure, draw one. 5 for 1 sounds good to me.
Is this a game? Is this still a game or just a fun
Part of my
game?
No,
plan.
Yeah.
it's part of the plan,
So
baby.
we gotta draw.
Later, Alex.
Later, brother.
Later, dude.
Is this the final round?
It's done, yeah.
Oh shit!
Jose lost to Paul and
And you lost the pair down.
He lost the pair down, and then I lost to Iggy.
You lost to Premi.
Primo.
Was Premi undefeated?
Yeah. He's the only guy to go game 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus, dude, you're crazy. Stand by. Main phase. Got it.
What about on your side?
Yeah.
Stand by me. We'll go 13. Go. Yeah. So either it is, and that happens, and then that goes into that. The battle. Attack it. Is it stale?
Yes.
Okay, and then this was normal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Rematch, bro?
Stand by me.
What's up?
You want a rematch?
I'm tired of getting my ass beat too.
Why?
So I fucking went 1-3.
Yeah. Okay.
1-3.
One leg.
Play my dragon.
I'm pretty down. I like your dragons. Next week, or Thursday. I'm pretty down actually. I've been wanting to make that build ever since I played you, but I ended up making a different
I like the hopeless build.
Does it affect the how?
the dragon.
Normal attack. You call. These two. And call on. Which should actually be the tune. Yeah. Matter of fact. This is 650. 650? And then 1850. Or 1800.
Yeah.
Normal summon, special, activate effect.
Who's winning?
Game 2.
My boy Eric clobbered my boy. We'll rip the card out of your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, I take quite a bit of time here actually to think about this play, right? Because I started wondering, why did my opponent make the play that they made, right? He opted to discard Vayu, send Sirocco, and then just pass, right? And that felt very odd to me, right? Like who makes that kind of play? So thinking about the reasons why you'd be motivated to make a play like that, the one conclusion that I could come to is that he must have a Dark Arm Dragon in hand, right? And the train of thought here is, oh, if my Dark Greffer dies, my Dark Arm Dragon will be live, and if my Dark Greffer lives, I can pitch another Dark, send a Plague Spreader, whether I'm pitching it or I'm sending it from the deck, and then I can use the Plague Spreader effect, and boom, I'm at 3 Darks, right? Now, that to me seemed like a very big problem, right? It's like, man, that kind of sucks. If I deal with this Greffer, I'm screwed, and then I need to find a way, if there is any, to shut off the Dark Armed and make sure that I have a board that can deal with it if the Dark Arm does end up coming down. Okay, so we found a cool way to do it, right? So the idea here is that we are going to go Cyber Dragon, attacking in the Greffer, and with my opponent having 4 cards in hand, we're about 50-50 on either A, if my instincts are correct with him having a Dark and a Dark Arm Dragon, then we're going to hit one of those and we're going to shut off the entire play. Or we miss, at which point then, you know, it's just unlucky. What can we do? And that's also just assuming that he has one Dark Armed, right? He didn't set any back row, so it's likely going to be like, it has to be like power spells or more Darks in hand, right? So it's like, I feel like the odds are pretty well in our favor here for this Arabellum to hit something good. It's like 50%, 75% to 100% even, right? So with that being the case, we opted to go for this line. But this here was actually also a misplay, because what is in my hand currently is a Call of the Haunted and a Godham's Emergency Call. So what we actually should have done here is taken another 400 points of damage, because we want both Godham's Emergency Call and Call of the Haunted to be live by default. So at this point here, if I go Call of the Haunted and I revive like Emmersblade, or we revive Arabellum, we will only have one X-Saber engraved, so the Godham's Emergency Call is not going to be live. Whereas if we crashed a second Emmersblade and we took an additional 400 points of damage here, we get to have the opportunity, if needed, to activate Call of the Haunted to summon a X-Saber monster, and then follow it up with a Godham's Emergency Call to summon 2 additional monsters to keep all my traps live at that point. We unfortunately did not plan that far ahead. I was a bit too focused on this Dark Arm situation, and that cost me that micro misstep.
Yeah, let's do 1250.
Right now, the deck's already.
Target service. Yeah. 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 Almost. That's good. You have how many in hand?
2.
Right towards that. We'll go battle 900 or 700. 11. $16.
Yep.
Perfect. 16.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Both cards.
9 2. So that one pass. Did you have the dad from the beginning?
No.
No.
Oh, actually, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, game.
Holy shit, dude. GG's, man.
All right, guys. So now that you have seen the success that I had at locals, let me go ahead and show you guys where I'm at currently with the list that we're running. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get into this deck list. So to start off, we are playing 3 copies of X-Saber Emerge Blade. This is the best card in the deck by far. It is a recruiter that can summon you any level 4 or lower X-Saber monster when it's destroyed by battle. No attack restriction on this card. It's honestly one of the best cards in the deck. I would not suggest cutting this, going below 3 in an X-Saber deck. It's absolutely pivotal to keep this guy at 3. I would consider him a must. 3 copies of X-Saber Full Helm Knight. X-Saber Full Helm Knight is a once on field negate of an attack. If they attack any monster, you can use Full Helm Knight's effect to negate the attack, as well as having an additional ability where if X-Saber Full Helm Knight attacks into a monster and destroys the monster that is in defense position, it can res a X-Saber monster from your grave in any position as long as it's level 4 or lower. This card is also insane. I would not suggest cutting this below 3. I would even make an argument to include reinforcements of the army, as it is a level 3 warrior, so that you have more access to Full Helm Knight. I think Full Helm Knight is definitely a very strong card in this deck and a really good reason to warrant playing 3 and not going below. Next up, we got 3 copies of Airbellum, X-Saber Airbellum. We all know this card, I think, and if you've been playing Edison format a lot, he comes up quite a bit in Caliber Cat decks and X-Sabers. He has a lot more utility because of his name being X-Saber. He's still one of the weaker X-Saber monsters. He's not the best. We play him because he's a rescue cat target. And for anyone that doesn't know what X-Saber Airbellum does, if he attacks directly, he gets to rip a card out of your opponent's hand. So it's one of the weaker effects because he's a 1600 attack monster and it has to be a direct attack for that to happen. But otherwise, it is still an X-Saber monster. It's summonable off Rescue Cat, which is why you need to play 3, as it's going to start a lot of combo lines when your deck actually gets going and you have a combo push that you can play. 3 copies of X-Saber Faultroll. Faultroll is what I would consider like the Judgment Dragon of the deck. Essentially, he's your big boss monster with a payoff. He's not the best. He's pretty good. Honestly, he's pretty good. Once per turn, you can special summon a level 4 or lower X-Saber monster in the grave, from the grave. And his summoning requirements are that you just have 2 X-Saber monsters on the field. So it's not the most complicated thing, but you do have to be in a winning position to be able to summon Faultroll. Once he comes out, though, it's usually because you're going to be making a huge push. I have seen decks that usually will cut X-Saber Faultroll to 1. I've seen builds that play 2. I'm personally of the opinion that you should play 3 of him because he is so offensive. He's a very aggressive card and rewards tempo that this deck can generate pretty easily. It's not the most complicated thing for X-Sabers to do. So I would definitely recommend playing 3 copies, but I can also understand why you would want to play less. 1 copy of X-Saber Regagura. Regagura is used for a infinite Faultroll loop that will allow you to rip the opposing player's hand without costing you any card advantage to do so. I definitely recommend playing one. I think even at worst case, Regagura, when normal summoned or special summon, will add you any X-Saber monster from the grave back to your hand. So it's a pretty good utility effect. It's one of the weaker X-Sabers for sure, but it's very nice at least to have some sort of way to gain follow-up from the grave. So I definitely suggest running one, regardless or not, if you're trying to go for a Faultroll loop. For anyone that doesn't know what the Faultroll loop is, we'll be going through a combo tutorial to showcase how you can achieve that within the X-Saber deck for anyone interested after the deck profile. So stay tuned. 1 copy of X-Saber Galahad. So I don't think this guy is played very often. He's one of the newer techs that have been discovered in Edison format. I have definitely enjoyed playing him at 1 as a utility summon off Armorsblade, as he's a level 4 monster, so you can summon him from Armorsblade effect. What Galahad does is essentially a Steamboard-like effect. If he attacks into a monster, he'll gain 300 attack, so he jumps up to 2100, just enough to out Snowman Eaters, Alias, Gravekeeper Spy, Thunder Kings, annoying big threats. Unfortunately for X-Saber Galahad, attacking into him will cost him 500 attack points, so he jumps down to 1300. But because you're going to be summoning him off Armorsblade summons, you're essentially going to make sure that he's the last summon that you're summoning off X-Sabers. You're essentially going to float into as many X-Sabers so you can tank 3 hits, and then at any point there when your opponent has no more attacks left, you summon the Galahad, so that on your turn then your Galahad can crack back and challenge an Alias or challenge a face down set, essentially whatever it is that you need to attack. So I definitely recommend playing X-Saber Galahad at 1. He's a very good card, very good utility card, adds a bit more counterplay to the deck, which I think the deck does need. And finally, what I like to consider my cat package. It's any card that can tutor me into Rescue Cat. Rescue Cat is very pivotal to getting your combo line started. So playing a way that gives you 5 routes to Rescue Cat, I think, is optimal. And Giant Rat has some additional utility in this deck in getting you Armorsblade, Full Hum Knight, and Regagura. So it essentially opens your deck up similar to a Shining Angel with Nova Summoner like in Fairies, getting you additional resources to your entire deck through the means of crashing in the Giant Rat. So I definitely suggest playing Giant Rat. I have seen builds that will play 2-to-1 copies. Some opt to play none. I do think that finding your Rescue Cat to start up your plays is very essential. So I personally have found that if you find a way to play 5 copies that get you 5 copies of a card that get you into Rescue Cat, that's fine. I will also, after this build, be showing an alternative build that I have been playing that I have also been finding success with. So I'll showcase that profile after this profile, and then we'll be running into the Faultroll loop after that. Okay, on to the spells. So here we play one copy of Brain Control, one copy of Mind Control. Absolutely necessary in X-Sabers. You play 6 tuners with 6 recruiters, 7, 8 recruiters, honestly, that can get you to a tuner. So playing these are fantastic, and these cards also work really well with Arabellum because you can take their monster, normal summon an Arabellum, attack, get a direct hit in, rip a card out of the hand, and then do a synchro play. So you get a lot of utility from Brain Control and Mind Control. We play 3 spell trap destruction cards. So we play MST, Trunade, and Heavy. There is another build that I was playing that played a copy of Cold Wave. That is a more offensive build. Oh, and for the offensive build that I was playing, one of the copies of Giant Rat was actually a Summoner Monk as well. So that in turn made the deck a lot more offensive and giving the deck a much faster way of trying to combo, find your combo, and then OTK. So I'll be showing that list momentarily after this. So stay tuned. 3 copies of Book of Moon. This card is very insane in this deck. Book of Moon allows for some pretty cool plays with Full Helm Knight because Full Helm Knight, as long as it destroys a defense position monster, it will get to res a monster from your grave. So how many monsters will that leave you with if you get to pull that off? 2. So main phase 2, you can do some crazy stuff with Faultroll if this attacks in. Unfortunately, there's like a lot of low defense monsters in Edison format that are very popular. All of the Monarchs are 1200 defense and Full Helm Knight is 1300 attack, so getting a chance to like hop over an established Monarch and then resummoning a X-Saber that died is fantastic for this deck. It gives your deck a lot more ways to extend. Alongside that, I like to play 1 copy of Level Limit Area B. This is essentially your fourth Book of Moon. It allows for level 4 or higher monsters to be changed to defense position. And if you'll notice here, a lot of our monsters are actually level 3. So you will get to attack with Arabellum, Full Helm Knight, and Emrys Blade. And since all the monsters that are level 4 or higher go into defense, Full Helm Knight will allow you to special summon if it can attack the defense position monster and destroy it, which is fantastic. And I will showcase a way that when you want this card removed, the deck does have a way to do that. So I'll go ahead and showcase that. And then finally, 2 copies of Gold Sarcophagus. I think Gold Sarcophagus is fantastic in this deck. Your deck has a lot of combo pieces that it likes to find. So whether it's a Faultroll, Rescue Cat, or a way to Rescue Cat, or a mass back row interruption to actually safely combo off, Gold Sarc is going to essentially be one of those pieces, any of those pieces that you need anytime. It's very fantastic. I would definitely suggest playing 2 copies because that's what's allowed in Edison format. Okay, now let's go ahead and go into the traps. So I do like to play 3 copies of what I think is one of the best cards for X-Sabers. That is Gotham's Emergency Call. Gotham's Emergency Call, as long as you control an X-Saber monster, you are allowed to special summon 2 X-Saber monsters from the grave. It's honestly a very, very fantastic card. The monsters do not die at the end phase. You don't take any damage for them. It's just 2 free monsters. A really weird note to this card as well is that it can summon from either player's graveyard. So if the mirror match starts becoming something that tends to happen more in Edison, or you're playing against Caliber Cat, you can actually take control of their monsters. You can take their monsters from the grave. So really, really neat card. Definitely makes for some interesting mirror matches. 1 copy of Call the Haunted. We like to get as many extensions as possible for this deck. So having any way to get another X-Saber name from your grave onto the field so that you can trigger your Faultroll is fantastic. It's very, very much needed. So 1 copy of Trap Dust Shoot, 1 copy of Mirror Force, 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. I feel these are all very standard. And then for 3 more flex spots that the deck does have, I have opted to go with Starlight Road. Starlight Road has been very fantastic in this deck. Because Starlight Road destroys anything that destroys 2 or more cards on your side of the field. this deck is usually going to play into Torrential Tribute. It's going to play into Mirror Force. It's going to play into Heavy Storms because it's also setting quite a bit. We have quite a few spells and continuous cards that stay up on the field. So Starlight Road is a great way to really give you some sort of a basis for all of those lines. We play one copy of Gravity Bind. Gravity Bind has also been very, very good in this deck. Sometimes you just need turns, and finding a way to establish your board so that you can get your Faultroll to stick is all you're going to need to win the game. So sometimes you just need like those 2-3 additional turns that you're going to be getting with the Gravity Bind. And then one copy of Compulse. This card has actually been very, very fantastic. I really do like this card, especially in X-Sabers, where you can do some kind of proactive plays with Compulsory. Something neat you can do with Faultroll is you can special the Faultroll, priority, activate effect, special summon an X-Saber from grave. And let's say they chain Bottomless, or they don't chain Bottomless. It's up to you, right? You can actually compulse back the Faultroll, special summon the Faultroll again, and then you can do another summon from the grave. So really, really cool card. You get to do some pretty proactive plays with this card, as well as having a very nice defensive option that's activatable at any point. So I've been very impressed with this card. I am thinking of like going to more. I think if more synchrocentric decks come into the format, I can easily see bumping this up to 2 or 3 copies just because of how well it's been performing. Okay, so that is the build that I've currently been playing. I've been finding a lot of success with this build, as well as a lot of enjoyment with this build. I've found that with these games going on a lot longer, I can find a lot more of my pieces more consistently. I can actually play more of a grind game plan and try to win through out-resourcing my opponent with cards like Ghanem's Emergency Call and Faultroll to just overrun my opponent. It's been doing very well. I have had additional success with a variation of X-Sabers early on. The trophy that I got first place with, actually, surprisingly enough, was a full offensive build, just maxing out my consistency to find any of my puzzle pieces to pop off, essentially, and then just try to do like a Ghanem's Rip, or just establish like a fat synchro board and then just pass and tell my opponent to deal with it. So that is very similar to this build, and then I'll talk about the differences very quickly. So plays 3, it plays 3, 3, 3, and then the difference with the more offensive build is that we're not actually playing Galahad in that. We opt to play 2 Ragagura. And the reason why we play 2 Ragagura is because we play a 1-for-1 in that build, because having a way to get Ragagura in line is essentially going to maximize your effectiveness at getting the Faultroll loop so that you can just rip the whole hand and keep all of your resources. It's a very insane loop. Again, in case you're not sure what the Faultroll loop does, we'll be showcasing that combo line after the deck profile. So in this more offensive build as well, we do not play the 3rd Giant Rat. I still do like to keep this at 5. So we do opt to play a Summoner Monk instead. So this, in turn, because we play a much higher spell count, because we're just trying to find combo, makes Summoner Monk a much stronger asset for that version of the deck, as well as being another really good search target for Sangan. And for the spells, we got 1 Brain, 1 Mind. That doesn't change. We do play a copy of Cold Wave in this build, so it's Heavy Storm, Giant Trunade, Mystical Space Typhoon, and 1 Cold Wave. This because this build is so much more aggressive, and Cold Wave works much better with Summoner Monk rather than it does with just Rescue Cat. It does a lot more for the aggressive version of the deck, so I definitely do recommend playing Cold Wave if you're going for a more offensive build. The problem with the other build that I was playing earlier was that I would find myself in situations where I would want to normal summon an X-Saber, activate my Ghanem's Emergency Call to get 2 more X-Sabers onto the field, and then activate Cold Wave, or normal summon the X-Saber monster, and then activate Cold Wave and chain Ghanem's Emergency Call. But unfortunately, the restriction of Cold Wave requiring it to be the first card that you're playing in your main phase 1 makes that impossible to do. So I opted to cut it instead for a Giant Trunade, because I need to do the plays where I resolve the normal summon and then have to chain Gotham's Emergency Call to like a Trunade or a heavy play to ensure that my summon monsters are going to stick to the board. So this build also plays 2 Gold Sark, standard, 1 level limit area B, 3 Book of Moon, and 3 copies of Upstart Goblin. This card, in the aggressive version, I have found a lot of success with. It's not a card, unfortunately, that you can just like first turn activate it. There are situations where you want to hold Upstart Goblin to see how your hand is going to play out. There is a small chance that you activating Upstart can cause you to brick on your Arabellums, and one of the more unfortunate issues that I was having with the aggressive version is that summoning Rescue Cat is essential. You need this card to resolve, and if you lose your Arabellums, you're losing one of your strongest pushes, and this deck starts to fall apart. You need to find then a second strategy, and you have to effectively pull off that strategy to get 2 names on the board that doesn't involve the Rescue Cat. So you have to be very careful with the Upstart Goblin. You can't just activate it turn 1. If you have X-Saber Arabellum in hand, you might want to consider holding Upstart Goblin unless you just have no other option and it's an emergency, right? Then at that point, you gotta just play the odds and hope that the Arabellum's not going to get drawn, the second one's not going to get drawn, and that you find something to extend or combo off with. But it happens. It's one of the unfortunate realities with this deck, and we kind of have to accept that for what it is with the X-Saber deck, especially the aggressive version. 1 copy of 1-for-1. This is the reason why we opt to play 2 Ragagura in this build. This helps you find your Faultroll loot much faster. And then you're on a lot less traps. So you're playing 1 Solemn, 3 Gotham's Emergency Call, and 1 Call of the Haunted. You can try this build as well. I have found a lot more success with it. It definitely feels very scary to pilot this build because it's a lot more aggressive. It's a lot more in your face. It's a lot more degenerate. It's a lot more disrespectful of playing. A lot of the times when you're playing this type of variation of X-Sabers, you kind of just have to put your opponent on like better have it and try to just do your combo, and you're either gonna get blown out or you're gonna win that game because they just didn't have the out. So that is the other main deck variation that I have found success with that you are welcome to try out for yourself. If you do opt to play this line, I would suggest in the extra deck playing a second copy of Armory Arm. I think the second copy of Armory Arm, because this deck has 2 copies of Ragagura, 1 copy of 1-for-1, having the second Armory Arm is going to help with a lot more of your extension plays. Okay, let's go ahead and move on now to the extra deck. So the extra deck, a couple standard cards here. We play the 1 Chimera Tech, 1 Colossal, Armory Arm, Goyo Guardian, Black Rose, Stardust Dragon, Brionic. I would consider a lot of these cards standard. Pretty much you're going to find them in any Edison deck. A little less standard are Misform and Armory Arm. You'll see them in quite a few less Edison decks. Armory Arm is great for Ragagura and any of your level 3s, syncing into them. You can kind of do some really cool things with this card with pumping up Full Helm Knight, getting like a 23 beat stick that like can special summon you monsters off Full Helm Knight's effect. So really fantastic card. 1 copy of Mistworm because they're all level 3s, so 2 Emerald Blades and an Arabellum will make you a Mistworm. It comes up quite a bit. For my X-Saber package, we play 2 copies of Gotham's, 2 copies of Hanley, 1 copy of Arabellum. I have seen builds that will cut the Hanley and the Gotham's to 1 apiece. You can do that. I personally have found a lot of success with playing the second copy of both. They do come up in their matchups. For anyone that doesn't know as well, High Inlay is the way that you can actually bypass your Gravity Bind or your level limit area B. When High Inlay is synchro summoned, it can target 3 spell or trap cards, up to 3 spell or trap cards on the field, and destroy them. So you can use this card, summon it out, pop your level limit area B, then start your combo plays to OTK or do whatever you're going to do to gain back the board through attacks, as well as just using it to pop 3 of your opponent's back row up to 3 of your opponent's back row. This card you have to be very careful with as well. Make sure that you're not playing into it in Starlight Road if they've been having like a set card there that's been set for a couple turns and like they haven't bottomless any of your cards, they haven't deepers in any of your cards, you might want to be wary that that might be a Starlight Road, and you might not want to get too greedy with this card. Maybe pop the other set, like one of the other options, and then just leave it at 1 and rule out that that might be a Starlight Road. So very, very strong card there regardless. Getting to pop 3 cards in the back row, it's a Suedo heavy start at that point. 1 copy of Arcanite Magician. Arcanite I've seen subbed out for Ancient Fairy Dragon. I think that's fine. I personally like to play this card because of my siding pattern, which we'll be talking about next. So let's get into it. Okay. In this sideboard, we play 2 Cyber Dragon, 3 copies of Kaiku, 1 copy of Thunder King, and 1 copy of Gorse. We play 3 Mask of Restrict, 1 Dust Tornado, 2 Imperial Iron Wall, and then my 2 flex spots currently that I'm still trying to figure out what they should be is Mind Crush and 7 Tools. Mind Crush sounds very good right now in the format. I think it's a very pro player card. I think people that find success with this are very good at the game because they have a very good intuition of what to declare based on what the opponent's doing. So definitely worth a shot, worth playing if you're feeling up to it. Otherwise, it could probably be like a second Dust Tornado if you're feeling a little less risky. So I've been trying it out, and then 7 Tools is the next new tech that I've been trying out. Theoretically, it sounds insane against back row decks with what I was talking about prior, where a lot of the time what you want to do with the more mid-range X-Saber list is normal summon an X-Saber, activate your Goddam's Emergency Call to special summon 2 X-Sabers from the grave. They're going to have some type of reaction, whether it's bottomless or torrential, and then having something like a 7 Tools sounds pretty nice to pay 1,000 life points to resolve your Goddam's Emergency Call. So this is currently in testing. I haven't had the chance to actually use it yet, so I'm not too sure how well that's going to work, but I will let you guys know in a future video if it makes the cut or not, and you will probably end up seeing that as well, just because it probably will or will not be in the side deck, or maybe it'll be in the side deck with more copies because it's been so effective. Who knows? So now the monster count here, it's kind of high, but I have come to find that Kaiku, the Ghost Destroyer, and Gorse have been very phenomenal as side deck cards against Vayu Turbo. So one of the bigger problems that X-Sabers has in Edison format is Deck Devastation Virus. Deck Devastation Virus resolving on an X-Saber deck will do a lot of damage. It, I believe, hits about like 7 to 8 cards. So obviously your Giant Rats are going to get hit. Your Sangan, Rescue Cat, Everest Blades, right? Full Helm Knights, Regagura. Regagura doesn't really count just because you don't really care if Regagura dies from your hand. It's already kind of dead in your hand anyways, and probably serves you. It's going to serve you better in the grave due to Goddam's Emergency Call. But that's a lot of targets that this deck hits, right? It's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11 if you don't count the Regagura. So what I have been doing recently to combat that is cut my Rescue Cat package for more defensive monsters, for higher attack, higher power level monsters for the Vayu Turbo matchup specifically. So these 3 will go in, Gorse will go in, and then depending on the deck, it'll just be those 4 monsters or maybe 2 Cyber Dragons if I am going second. So this essentially is going to cut your potential hits down to 6, 7 if you want to count the Regagura. But this has been doing a very fantastic job at combating Deck Devastation Virus and playing through it. This is also the reason why we play Arcanite Magician. If you ever need a way to make a Arcanite to pop 2 on the board, you can use your Kaiku. So This is how I've been finding a lot of success against the Value Turbo decks. I've come to find that just summoning a Kaiku against them too is phenomenal. Also, if they jump the gun on their deck devastation virus, they're like, let's say they're afraid that you're gonna have a rescue kit in hand already and you can like normal summon priority, activate effect, they might just shotgun it to try to play around that. And then you get to normal summon the Kaiku in your hand if you have it. And then you get to remove cards from the grave. It's very, very good. So I've been finding a lot of success with that. The other card I actually want to talk about in X-Sabers, and honestly any deck that, if it can be played in that deck, like Gemini, for example, I think you should definitely consider siding it or mating it, is Imperial Ironwall. I've been siding Imperial Ironwall for a couple weeks now, and it's just been incredible. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Getting to shut down Caius, Miracle Fusions, Vayus, Dark Arm Dragons. It hits so much. It's such a versatile tool that I have been finding so much success with that I am definitely considering bumping that card up to 3. This will go in alongside my Kaikus for the Vayu Turbo matchup to make that matchup a lot better. And then usually maybe Dust and 7 Tools will make an appearance, just because the other big problem with this deck is Royal Oppression. Royal Oppression is not a card you want to play against with X-Sabers. It's usually a nail in the coffin if you don't have a way to remove it. So definitely recommend making sure that your side deck is always well equipped to deal with Royal Oppression. So keep that in mind for you guys. If you guys are siding in this deck, I don't think it necessarily needs to be 3 Kaiku. It needs to be some high attack monster, something over 1,500 attack points, so that you can sub out your Rescue Cat package to make your deck more resilient to deck devastation virus. That will aid you a lot in having a better game 2 and 3 against those matchups. It's still very difficult, don't get me wrong, but this definitely gives you a really good fighting chance. So I definitely suggest trying it out. Okay, so now that we got the side and extra out of the way, let me show you a quick combo tutorial showcasing the Faultroll loop. All right, guys, so really quick, the Faultroll loop is relatively simple here. All you need is a X-Saber monster to stick onto the field, or access to 1-for-1. You can do this on turn 1 with 1-for-1 because you're able to special summon the Ragagura from grave. So if you can resolve an X-Saber summon and it comes back to you and you have an access to Ragagura, this could be through Emmer's Blade, Giant Rat, any way to get into a Ragagura, and you have double Faultroll in hand, you will have an infinite loop to rip your opponent's hand without losing any resources. So the way that you do this is you normal summon Ragagura, you special summon Faultroll, you synchro summon the Faultroll and Full Helm Knight for Gotems. Next, you're going to special summon your second copy of X-Saber Faultroll, and you will then activate the effect of Gotems to tribute the Ragagura to rip a card out of your opponent's hand. So at this point, you've ripped one card out. You will then activate the effect of Faultroll to special summon the Ragagura, and you will get to activate Ragagura's effect to add an X-Saber Faultroll from your graveyard to your hand. This has no level restriction, so it's free to grab whatever it wants, which is now maybe you might be seeing what's going to happen here. We're going to special summon the second copy of Faultroll. We can activate this Gotem's Emergency Call to tribute off the Faultroll and the Ragagura for 2 additional cards. So at this point, we've ripped three cards out of your opponent's hand. You can then activate this new summon copy of Faultroll to bring back the Ragagura, activate the Ragagura effect, grabbing back your next Faultroll, and you will repeat this until they are at no hand. Or if you want to then establish and finish up, let's say you've ripped up enough cards, right? You can probably end here on specialing this. You can pass to your opponent's turn. This here will help you play through any kind of crazier top decks, depending on what your opponent has, right? If they like try to brain control at this point, you don't have a hand, so they can't tribute off the Golems here. And then if they try to attack in any of your monsters, you can use the Full Helm Knight to negate, right? So you can essentially use the graveyard to your advantage after you've ripped your opponent's entire hand to see what kind of board you want to develop post Faultroll loop. So that is the combo. And with that, I believe that is the end of the video, guys. So please let me know what you thought of this video. Hopefully you got a lot of information from it. I genuinely love X-Sabers. I think it's one of the funnest decks to play in Edison format, and I have had a blast playing X-Sabers in Edison format. It's honestly one of my favorite decks to play in the format, and I am always very saddened to see how untapped it is, how many people choose not to play the deck, how nobody's trying to innovate on the deck. I do think the deck has a lot of room for innovations, a lot of room for potential. There's a lot of tech cards that I think people should look into trying. I know At One with the Sword is a trap card that is definitely worth looking into. I haven't had a chance to test it myself, but it is something that is in the think tank to try out one time to see how the card works. And yeah, hopefully we get more people trying out the deck, because honestly, when the deck feels good, it feels unbeatable. It feels incredible. A lot of the power pushes this deck does feels a lot like current format. If you're a fan of current format, you might enjoy this deck because you really do have to plan out your combo line, and it's a very dynamic combo line every time. You're gonna have to try to figure out ways to get yourself in the most advantageous position. A lot of the losses that I take with this deck, I reflect back on my plays and I see I missequenced something, or I missed a chance to gain additional resources through my cards that have been given to me. So there's a couple of those in the video as well. If you saw, right, that final round where I did the Goddam's Emergency Call and Call the Haunted play, I missequenced my line and I thought too hard about my opponent's line, and I forgot to get myself a third name in Grave so that I can have both Call the Haunted and Goddam's Emergency Call live. So it's a lot of little things like that. It gives you a lot of chances to reflect on your plays. So I definitely suggest giving the deck a try. It's really fun, and hopefully it does give you guys at least a very good time in Edison format. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to be heading out. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know, give help promote the video, promote the channel, do anything that you guys can to help me out. I would really appreciate it. And let me know if you guys want more content like this, or what kind of content you guys would be interested in. Personally, I want to do a lot of like locals, vlogs, and have those posted on this channel. And we'll see what else I decide to do for future videos. But with that being said, guys, it's been a pleasure. Later.